Hi guys and gals, I'm Ken Callison from ididit Incorporated. I'm here today to tell you how to put a horn kit in an old school steering column. So I've lately disassembled this a little bit to help us out. So I take off the horn kit that was there that didn't work because there was no horn assembly in the column. You're going to be required to have a few little tools, mostly Allen wrenches and a wrench and a pair of dikes. So we're going to take this wheel off, just about knock this off. Now this particular column is one of our first gen old school columns, and it doesn't have a hole in it for the wiring to come out. If you got one of these, then we have a slight problem. If you, after a later version, maybe after the first 20 or so, we started getting questions about horns. And so we started putting a hole into the top of the column for that horn wire to come out. So the one thing we want to do is, on this horn assembly, we're going to have this piece right here, which has some wires inside of it that have to come out. And take these wires out of it. They're going to come up through the column, and this horn plunger has to ride on this piece, and that's what gives you your signal ground system to work on the horn. So we're going to show you how to install this mechanism inside the column, as well as put the two holes in the column for this wiring plunger. Okay guys and girls, we'll get back into this. We're going to have to disassemble the column right now. It's very simple to disassemble. We're going to take out an Allen wrench to loosen this collar. Then there's a wavy washer assembly and a bearing that we don't press in all the way. And we're going to take those two pieces out, set the Allen wrench down, and we're going to lift the column off the tube, or the tube off the shaft of the column. But you'll notice at this point we still have a bearing on this end, and that bearing's got to come out. So the very simple way to do it is to put it back on the opposite way and bring it down and gently tap it. And it comes out. So we now have the shaft with the mount to mount the wheel on, and the tube itself. The tube itself, we're going to have to drill a series of 2 holes in the column using a 5/16 drill and a 1/2-inch drill bit. If you've got a drill press or something bigger, it would be very helpful at that point. Now what these are for is to put the plunger into the hole, the 1/2-inch diameter hole, and then slide it downward where it will lock into position. Now you're thinking, that's a pretty good sized hole, what am I going to do with it? Well, I figured out that we're going to put that underneath the drop and you won't see it. And this will be directly behind the drop and it'll be out of sight. So we'll go on to rectifying this problem. Now the directions tell you how to do this, so watch the directions. Okay, we're going to replace the bearing back onto the shaft right now, and you have to remember to replace it where it would sit with the race part upward, and this part fits into the tube. This is important. And you want to put it on the end of the shaft and slide it all the way up. Then you've got to make up your mind where you've got this done. That's why I like you to drill these out and fab it in there, grind it away and fab it in. A die grinder probably will work the best to take out the excess material. You've got to place this piece right here somewhere on the shaft, and I've already marked it, and I want it to ride between these two marks. Now I have to find out where the hole is in the other end of the column on the top end and make sure that this wire goes on the very top. So I'm going to install that now. So I install it, I get it between my two marks. I want to make sure that the little Allen screws are pointed upward. And you want to tighten those two down. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this wire and we're going to feed it through the bearing and through the hole in the upper part of the column. And we're just going to feed it on through. Once that's tight on there, we're going to take these three wire ties and we're going to wire tie this to the shaft. Now you see that I put the three wire ties on and I snipped them off, and what that's doing is it's stopping as the column rotates, the head and the shaft rotate, it won't rub against the inside of the tube. The bearing is sitting here with the wiring going through the bearing. Because the flat is there, it allows the wire to go through it. So now we're going to start to reassemble the column, and we're going to put the tube back onto the shaft. One thing I forgot here is you want to get some white lithium grease and put that on this brass all the way around it to lubricate it. And you know, get a little sloppy, it's okay. In other words, put excess amounts on it. So we're going to put this on here, and we've got to kind of line it up a little bit, and we're going to put it on. Now we're going to have to turn this column vertical and push down, and you heard it click, to seat the bearing in the tube on that end. Now on this end, we're going to insert the bearing here. And we have to use something to push that bearing in there so that we can tap on it and knock it into place. Now once the bearing is seated into the tube, you've got to put the wavy washer on. And then the collar. And the collar has an Allen wrench, or has an Allen screw in it. You're going to put your wrench on it, and you want to push down to compress the wavy washer as you tighten this up, and that gets rid of any looseness in the column. Okay, now that I've got this mounted, this is what it's basically going to look like. You see the big hole here, and then this white plunger piece has slid down enough to go into the 5/16 area. The big hole is going to actually get covered up by the drop, so you won't see it, and this will be right up close to the back side of the drop. Now, if you're the kind of person that wants to put this at the bottom of the column and do the same thing, yeah, you can do that. If you want to put it underneath the carpet or something, I've seen a lot of guys do that. So you can move it anywhere you want, and you've got enough electrical wire here to slide it up and down the full length of the column. I think that's it. We're going to install it back into the stand that we had the other one in and finish the assembly and show you how it looks at that point. The finished product is sitting here with the horn wire coming out of it. It's right behind the drop. It's very close to the drop, and so you've covered up the big 1/2 inch diameter hole, and then you would run your wire up and go to the horn relay. Now that could be in your fuse panel that you have, or you may have to get a horn relay and put it in. Now we have those relays here, and in a few minutes I'll explain about horn relays and how to hook those up. But right now we're going to show you how to put the steering wheel back on in the horn kit. Okay, we're going to mount the steering wheel now. In order to do that, we need to fit the wire through the center hole of the wheel and pull it on out and bring the wheel up and set it right up there lining up with the holes. You need to do the same thing with this horn piece. And we're going to insert 3 bolts. Okay, so we got the 3 bolts mounted and we've got this fiber plate here. What this does is it makes contact with the wheel, and when you push the horn button down, the back side of it touches the wheel and it creates a ground that goes through the relay and blows the horn. So we're going to cut off part of this wiring and we're going to kind of loop it around there and come up here. So I want to cut it off at this point and use the wire strippers. As I find the right gauge wire. Now this particular horn takes an 1/8 inch contact, or a wire end, and we don't provide one in the kit because we don't know whether you're going to hook it up to a Grant or a Moon Eyes wheel like this one, or a Lucara, or what you're going to hook it to. Lucara, Budnick, Billet Specialty, any of those guys. So you want to crimp this down nice and tight. And we're going to loop it around here and we're going to slide it onto this little wire connector. We put the horn wire on and put the 3 bolts in it. And then we got the spring out, and we discovered that it probably would have been better if we would have notched the wheel right at the center and notch it upward a little bit so we could get the spring in there. There is a horn hole, as you might see in there, but we don't need to go all that way, but it appears that we need to notch it a little bit. So what I've done is I put the wire inside the horn and made it work that way. Now the next thing we discovered was that the horn spring needed to be longer, and we were having a hard time getting it to hold in position. But we finally got it to a place where it's going to work, and we put this on, snap it into place, and it's on there, and it you know, spring's holding it off enough where you would push it down. Now if your wiring's finished and you have your horn wire here back on the column going to the relay, we make horn relay wiring for you, and we have the relays available, and it's a 3-prong relay, and in this case it goes to the black wire on the column for the single wire. The upper left, as you're looking at the end of the prongs, would go to the horn, and the one on the right goes to the fuse panel. So once you have that wired up this way, it would work fine and the horn would blow. And that's about all there is to mounting this wheel and horn assembly into the old school column. If you need to contact us, just give us a call or email us. And I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching. Bye.